Those of you guys tuning in to FC Instant, welcome to the show. I want to start off by actually asking you about the film that's being touted as Sanjay Dutt's big comeback film. I want to know what your memories were of him and the superstardom that he enjoyed.
So I think my memory of Sanju sir is Munna Bhai. Like my strongest memory is Munna Bhai, because I think that's been a film that I've watched and rewatched, and my entire family, which is not a huge movie watching family, has watched and rewatched that. So and somewhere I've always imagined him to be Munna Bhai.
He is that.
He is that. And then when I met him, I was quite sure that it was like almost like it was written
for him.
Yeah, because he is really Munna Bhai. He is absolutely, even the way he smiles, just the fact that he's really all heart, and he possibly has like, he's really lion-hearted, huge big heart. And
big
adorable.
Guy with a big heart.
Yeah, and lovely bear hugs, which is the Jadoo Ki Jhappi. So he is Munna Bhai. But otherwise also Vastav and Khalnayak and all, which were like really different. Sarjan, those also I've seen.
True. True.
I haven't seen some of the older ones, but I want to watch those. I've heard people speak about them so much, like Naam and so I want to watch those.
Binge watch Sanjay Dutt films.
Yeah.
Who wants to join her in doing that? But I was watching the trailer of this film.
Yeah.
So different from Munna Bhai. This is really intense.
Yeah.
And even in the parts where you weren't saying anything, you could tell that you were. I felt pained just looking at your eyes.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what did you tap in to just reach that level of angst that you managed to bring out?
I think very often in a strong story, the situation is such that it makes you feel that way. And I feel like I don't think you can prepare for feelings. You can't learn them. You can't
get into the headspace, or do you do something to?
I think with me it just kind of happens. I think between action and cut, there's that kind of in between magic space that happens, and I don't know what it is, but I feel like I can be anything, do anything, and I don't know what it is. I'm never able to explain it, but it is kind of like that. And also it helps when there are people around you who know what they want, and there's an actor in front of you who is also very effortless. Mm-hmm. So they're in the zone and you're in the zone, and it's kind of like, it's really teamwork actually. But I do feel, in this particular film, what I felt really strongly was that at various points I would actually feel very wretched, and I would actually feel humiliated. And I've not really felt this before, because I pretty much snap in and snap out of and I can snap out, and I'm usually like monkeying around somewhere in the corner. But in this one though, there were portions where there's that scene where Sanju sir says ye characterless ladki, and I'm like literally breaking, like I'm breaking down, and maybe I'm not crying, but I look like the earth has shattered. I kid you not, but a second before that I was laughing, holding my stomach, literally rolling on the ground, and being blasted by Umang sir, because he was like, Aditi, serious, what are you doing, serious, this is not, and I was like,
watch me.
No, and I couldn't stop, I had a giggling fit, and then we immediately shot that scene. But it just happens like that. But I have to say that after I shoot a particular scene, when Sanju sir wasn't around, especially on this film, I would kind of just be sitting like this, because I would just feel terrible.
In a recent chat, Shah Rukh Khan talked to us about how the one thing that he finds really hard to do on screen is to laugh convincingly. Do you have such a thing? Is there something that you get really awkward having to do?
Oh, so laughing and crying and all is not something that, I don't know what nailed it, but it's not something that I feel very conscious about, because even in my real life, I laugh as easily as I cry. So it's like this 5-year-old in my head. But what I did find really hard was, there was a scene where I get drunk by mistake, and I found that really hard to do, because I'm not dancing in a club drunk, or I'm not having fun. I'm actually pouring my heart out to my father. So that's a very fine line, because you have to sound drunk, and at most times I don't sound drunk.
And not go over the top.
Yeah, and your eyes need to look a particular way, and I tend to have these perky eyes. So it was like it was difficult for me to get that. And I think something that Sanju sir said, which basically he said, forget about everything. Because I kept saying, how do I make that drunk voice? How do I make those eyes like that without looking like I'm overacting?
You've grown up watching the movies where you just know they do it like a very stereotypical
Exactly.
way.
And I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't want to get into that space. I want to do it in a normal kind of way. And he was just, he came and whispered in my ear. He said, don't get caught in that. Do what instinctively you want to do. And just think about you talking to your father and telling him something that you can't tell him on any other day. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I did. So that helped a lot.
So getting drunk on camera.
Very hard. Awkward. Very hard because of the stereotype.
Yeah.
All that.
For those of you guys tuning into the chat, now's a good time to send in your questions for this gorgeous girl. So we'll take some coming in, Amara.
Surya Karthik Yamujala is asking, great job singing Van Varun.
Oh.
When are you going to sing in Hindi?
How about now?
Where I've been
such
speaking every day. Thank you. And thank you for Van. I was really lucky to have been a part of Manisa's film and to have done this classic romance with Manisa and then Rahman sir doing all the music, and then I got an opportunity to sing with Rahman sir live on stage. And I have to tell you that, whenever people ask me when will you sing, I'm not a trained singer, I'm a trained dancer, but by osmosis, my mum sings, so I've imbibed some of that genetically and I think by osmosis. So I was asked very often, when are you going to sing? And I used to sort of think in my head, I'll sing when Rahman sir asks me to sing. And once or twice I said it and they were like, whatever. And I was like, and I told myself, no, it'll happen. And it did.
And it did.
So
very recently you sang at one of his concerts.
Yeah, live.
Yeah,
it was scary, but I was just that blessing of being there on stage with Rahman, and it was just Rahman on the piano and me singing. So it was a huge privilege and a huge blessing, and I'm grinning even thinking about it.
What did you sing?
Van Varuvan.
So is there something that you can sing for us?
Now? How much have I sung that song? It's a never-ending song. It's very difficult to. Anyway, okay, I'll sing it to you.
Yay. On your request.
Van Varuvan Toruvan Marai Pol Viruvan Marumam Harivan Yennul Olivan Haragil Nimirvan Toleivil Panivan Karvam Kondal Kallayuraivan Kallayuraivan Uraivan Kadal Vandal Kaniyai Nikirvan Yen Kalla Kamuhane Avandan Varivan.
Wow, that's not an easy song to sing.
It actually, because you can't take a breath anywhere. It's like a non-stop song.
There you guys go, without auto-tune or any of that jazz. And you don't know the language either.
No, but Manisa was he taught
Tamil,
me.
so I can tell you that the pronunciations are pretty spot on.
Yay.
Not bad.
Well, yeah, in the ballpark. I had Manisa. I mean, you can't get a better teacher than Manisa.
But how do you even do it? Even when it comes to just doing a film in a language you don't understand, what's the best way to approach that?
I think, apart from all the stardom and all the money and all the fame and everything, what I really, really love is cinema. And I'm somebody who's very driven by a director. And I think just that childhood dream of wanting to work with Manisa, I think that sort of everything else paled in comparison. The difficulty of learning a language, the difficult locations, the fact that Manisa is sprinting ahead and you're sprinting behind him, and he's a hard taskmaster. But I think that kind of challenge is an adrenaline rush, whether it's language. And I think that language actually was a blessing in disguise, because somebody like Manisa, who's really busy, the kind of time and attention that I got, from him, and the fact that I was able to spend so much time with him talking. He's very quiet.
How did it feel to be offered a film by Manisa? I promised I wouldn't ask.
But I can't tell you, because it's like, when a childhood dream comes true, I can't tell you what it feels like, because it gives you the faith and the strength to believe in your dreams and to believe in belief. Because it's like something you've always wanted and you've always sort of dreamt of, and it's like, and it happens. And with Manisa, it just has to happen. You can't go and sort of say, Manisa, I want to work with you. Do you have a script for me? It just has to fall into place, and it did. It was really, I mean, you feel like you're on the right path, and regardless of backing, outsider, insider, all that drama fades in comparison, and you feel, okay, the directors that you've always wanted to work with are working with you. So every bit of struggle is worth
At
it.
the risk of sounding incredibly vain, does being really, really beautiful restrict the kind of work that you get approached? Does that
Am I supposed to answer this because it would seem like I'm agreeing with you?
No, but I do want to know. Like, does that ever come in the way sometimes?
Honestly, if you have, okay, so in my experience, it has, but I'll tell you the real story. If somebody wants to work with you, nothing matters. Actually, these are just excuses, according to me. And I have been given these excuses by various filmmakers
Really?
who have then, like, I've been told, you're too fair, you're too pretty, you're too, you don't look like you could be from a village. And then they've gone on and cast somebody who's exactly like me. So I feel that these are just excuses. I think to be pleasing, I'm not going to use the word because I don't want to sound vain, because I really believe that it has nothing to do with me. It's genetics, right?
Yeah.
So I can't take any pride in it. But okay, to look a certain way should actually, or to be talented. I've also been told you're too talented. So how do we
does that
position you? I don't know. It, like, so some people are known for their dancing, some are known for their singing, some are known for their acting, some are known for their looks. So I was actually told this, that why don't you pick one thing and do that? And I was like, but why? Why should I do that? I cried first I was really upset because I was like, oh my God, is that what is expected of me? That I should shut everything else out and then pick this one thing and say, I'm a dancer or I'm an actor and nothing else matters to me. But no, everything matters to me. I love to look good. I love to dress up. But when I'm in front of the camera, I will not look at or when I'm on set, I will get ready and get out and I'll never look at the set. And if my work requires me to not wear a spot of makeup like Bhoomi or even a lot of Manisha scenes, I will not wear makeup and it does not bother me. I'm very comfortable being vulnerable in front of a camera. So why should I restrict myself to one thing? Why should a good actor be okay looking or a beautiful girl not be a great actor? Or why can't a dancer also be a singer? Why can't an actor be a singer and a dancer? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's not fair. And I don't want to hear any excuses. If you have an excuse, fine, okay. Your problem, not mine.
Also just being an actor is always very often a situation of feast or famine. And what I've seen you do is that when the work comes in, it pours in like it is for you right now. But there's also that period of famine.
Yeah.
But there's been a very gracious and gorgeous way that you've managed to stay in the news with appearances, with your fashion shoots and all of that. Is that a very conscious decision because you don't want a case of out of sight, out of mind?
I think with me, though I do have a brain and I am a thinking person, because sometimes, when I say that I'm all instinct and all heart, like, people have told me that, why do you say that? You're an intelligent girl. So I'm like, they're not mutually exclusive. But the fact is that I am very instinctive. I've also, it also has a lot to do with what I've been surrounded with, whether it's my family or my mom or my grandmother or my dance teacher. You learn by example. At least that's what it has been for me. And I guess that's how I am and that's who I am. So I don't go out of my way to prove anything to anybody. I'd rather, there's a lot of noise always. And I don't want to shout above the noise because then it's just like, it's pointless. Everybody's just going hoarse. So I'd rather preserve that energy and for the work that I love, whether it's doing an appearance, whether it's acting, whether it's dancing, singing, doing a brand endorsement, whatever it is. So it's more an instinctive thing and it's more who I am. And you're totally right about the feast and famine. And I think that happens because when you don't have that kind of backing, or when you don't have a hero recommending you, and I'm not sounding bitter about it, I'm not at all bitter about it, I'm just saying it's a fact. Or when you don't have a production house behind you or a director behind you, then there are periods where there is nothing because nobody has announced anything with you. Otherwise, when you have that backing, you have that full tamjham where now my film is coming out, now the person who is my mentor will announce another project quickly. Even if that project gets done 2 years later, that announcement is there. But with me, it has to be one step at a time. And the thing is, that's my fact. Why should I crib over something I don't have? I'd rather put all my energy into and count my blessings into stuff that I have. So I just function like that naturally. And even if my brain starts getting into that horrible zone, I very quickly like smack myself and bring it back into my zone where who I really am. So that was a long answer to a fairly simple question, but
No, but you talked about the whole noise, and social media does contribute to that noise. And you talk to close to I don't know how many million people with every post that you put out, and you can go from being glamorous to goofy in like seconds. So are you very conscious of the impact that you have on the people that you're talking to, or the image that you want to put out of yourself? Is that very like conscious?
So my image, like very often I get smacked by, not smacked, but I get calls from PR saying, I don't think this is for a public Instagram post. I'm like, that's okay. That's who I am. It's fine. I don't care. Not I don't care, but like I feel like people should love you for who you are. And it's okay to show them your goofy side. And that is a part of me. I am goofy. I do act like Donald Duck, or I do pout and do stupid things. But there is another side to me as well, which is this
poised
diva.
So which is fine.
Yeah, I love all of it. And why should I just for an image? Why should I, not let myself be this free spirit that I am? And having said that, when you ask me about, the impact of social media, most of the time I'm surprised. Like the kind of messages I get, and especially from after I did Manisha's film, Bhoomi also has been quite amazing. But after Manisha's film, the response I got was unprecedented. Even till today, I get messages from people saying, when are you doing your next Tamil film? Please, I hope that clock works faster so that, you come back to us sooner and stuff like that. And I feel like, oh my God, they don't even know me. They hardly even know me. And like I've still worked 6 years in Bombay, but I've done that one film there. So I actually am mostly really surprised. And some of them are so, what's the word for it? They sort of know you even without really knowing you. They've sort of got, like how you said, you're goofy and you have that outside you, and they know that so well like about you, and they like that. So I'm like, that's really amazing. They're so perceptive. That's the word I was looking for. So I find that really amazing.
And also the kind of adulation that the stars in the south of the country just enjoy with their fans is very
it's
different.
Unconditional love. And I find it so amazing.
They don't even need to promote their films.
Really?
Honestly.
Yeah. Because here you still have to constantly prove yourself, and somewhere you're fans and you are equals, which is also an interesting kind of equation. But
there's
there
it's like you said, unconditional adulation.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Speaking of that, can we take a couple of questions?
We have Nilesh Deplaya asking, hi Aditi, all the very best for Bhoomi.
Thank you.
Just wanted to know that you've been doing very intense roles like Wazir and Bhoomi. When can we see you in a lighter role?
Tap on the goofy.
I get very, very varied questions, because some people will say that you've done only these very fragile type of, or very metrocentric, happy kind of roles. When are we going to see you doing a strong girl? So, which is why when people saw me with a knife in my hand screaming, they were like, oh, she's finally done a strong girl. So I actually am so confused as to who I am and what I do. But I would tell you this, that I really, really, really like to be, I like to do different things. I like to do different genres. I don't like to be boxed. So if people have this impression of me being this very fragile girl, or this happy, sort of free-spirited, goofy girl, there is the intense side to me as well, where I love like emotional dramas. I love like, intense kind of parts. But I like them all, and I want to have the opportunity to do them all. So if people are confused about what I do, it actually works for me, because that means that you all have different impressions of me, and that
you're not getting
hopefully will help me to not be slotted, because I hate the thought. I'm claustrophobic. Even in like in mentally, I'm claustrophobic.
So mental claustrophobia.
In every way.
You went back to back shooting with Mani Ratnam and then straight to Padmavati with Sanjay Dutt, Bhansali, two fabulous people to be able to work with simultaneously. What did those few months in your life just make you discover about yourself as an actor in general? Like, just to be working with such powerhouses.
I think, the one thing I realized is that, again, it's something from my childhood. I've been dancing since I was 5, and I'm used to being pushed. And I realized that if I'm not being pushed,
boy, do they push.
and boy, do they push. You're so right. They literally push you to the edge of a cliff. And you feel like, okay, now I'm going to die. I remember once telling Manisa, I think I'm going to die now. Because it was in my minus 16, and he gave me a big hug and patted my head and said, after shoot karna. And I was like, and I started laughing. I was like, I love Manisa. And Sanjay sir is the same. I mean, if he doesn't get his shot, he's not leaving you. I remember I hurt my foot really badly, and you actually forget that you're hurt, that you're limping. You're actually being normal on set because you know that he's so passionate about every frame and every detail that you just have to live up to that. And I actually realized that when I'm not being, I think that I thrive in that atmosphere because it's kind of like an adrenaline rush. And I figured that when I'm not in that atmosphere, when I'm not, I probably have Stockholm syndrome. When I'm not being pushed like that, I feel like I'm not working. It has something to do with my dance training, where you're bleeding and your ghungru has sort of gashed into your skin, but you're still dancing, and you may have a knee, your knee might be paining, but you still have to do your rehearsal, and it has somewhere, I'm quite convinced it has to do with that, because I found in this last year, I'm finding like, yes, this is what I need, and this is what I want. So, and also it's made it very clear in my head that I am a director's actor and I thrive in that environment where the director is somebody I respect and the director is somebody who pushes you. And so I'm very clear that that is what drives me now. It's the director. Because he's the captain of the ship. He gets that, for him the script is the hero, for him the characters are the hero, he gets that, that perfect crew in place where every single person is there because they are great at their job, not because they've done 80 films or 2 or 3 or whatever. They're respected because of what they bring to the table, and that is so for you as well. And I'm kind of addicted to that now, and it's like a vitamin booster shot. So I keep wanting that.
And finally, I just want to ask you, it's a great addiction to have right now, and it's a great place to be right now. So I just want to know, somehow as people watching from the outside, I always felt that you never really got your due, and when you see that happening, I want to understand from you what you want to do to veer your career and where do you want to take it, because it's a good place to be right now.
So never having gotten my due or being underutilized or potential not being tapped and all. So I have moped about this in earlier on, but now I remember my mother telling me, that's a good sign. That means that people still feel that you have a lot more to give and more to do, because so I choose to then put it on its head and say, okay, so that means I can do so much more. And it's not like, I'd rather that situation than people say, why are people giving her these opportunities? We are so fed up of her, stop now. And she is getting more than she deserves. So I would rather people say that she's getting less than she deserves, and for somebody to rise up to the occasion and say, I trust your talent and I will take you regardless of the fact that you may not in perception be the biggest star or not have the biggest people behind you or whatever, but because I believe in your talent, I'll call you. And whether it's Sanjay, Leela, Bhansali or Mani sir or Umang Kumar and Sandeep Singh, the producer of Bhoomi for that matter, these are people who are, Vidhu Vinod Chopra, who didn't know me from Adam and saw one screen test of mine that Bijoy said you have to watch, and he just saw it and said, okay, cancel, just bring her, this is who I want. So, but it takes filmmakers to make that decision. You can't have a project maker make that decision, because for a project maker, a lot else matters. But the moment you have a director who's, and it's chota mo badi baat, but it's something that I've discovered along the way, and I feel that those people will always call me if I continue to believe that and continue to work in that way where I believe that the film is bigger than me. So I feel that those filmmakers will always call me because they call you for your talent and what you have to bring to the table. And somewhere it's a huge risk for them. but I think their craft is greater than anything else. So they are willing to take that risk with a new girl or with a girl who is still finding her sort of space. But I feel like you kind of attract like-minded people somewhere. So if you love them and if you love their work, somewhere they also believe in you and they will call you. I know it's a little La La Land Care Bears. We're all Care Bears. But I've survived 6 years thinking like that, and I'm happy thinking like that. That works for me.
Super. May you soar to greater heights. Keep dreaming because
Thank
you're
you.
clearly checking them off one by one.
Yes.
Thanks so much
Thank
for chatting
you.
with
Thanks,
us on Film
Siddhant.
Companion.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in to FC Instant. If you missed the start of this chat, you can catch it on our page. Thanks for watching.